Welcome to 15 And, where we grow through the transformative stories and principles from the Bible. I hope you enjoy this teaching. I hope you share it with others. And I hope you go to 15and.org, click the Donate Now button, and support this mission.
I'm not proud of it. Doing the best I could, how I was wired up. 20 years ago, leading the best way I knew how. Doing the best I could. So back off, all right? I'm in this meeting with our leadership team, and I was bringing up something that I had read and asking a question to one of our leadership team members. And he just was going along with me, and then he stopped, and he said, "Guys, I got to confess something to you. I lied. The thing Chris was just talking about, I hadn't read." And it was awesome. It was like an honest, vulnerable moment. Now, I didn't know then what I know now, that I would have stopped in that moment and affirmed that moment and encouraged in that moment and really try to make it something that became a high water benchmark for our culture in that moment. So this guy says that out loud. He says, I just lied. I'm sorry. Another guy speaks up and goes, yeah, I feel all the time this pressure and insecurity to keep up with Chris. And in my mind, I was like, yeah, I'm ahead of you, sucker. No. I did feel bad because I was like, these are the people that I care about. We're running the mission together. We're climbing the mountain. What about me has caused something to come across to them about this? Now, I can't help part of how I'm wired up. And this is the thing that we really want to go deep into in this whole series. The way we're wired up in our insecurities is both a gift and a challenge. It's the way that we build the world and build our cultures. It's also the way we ruin our cultures and our worlds and our communities. And I am wired up to move fast. In fact, if you look at the way we talk about it, identity fears, and my identity fear quotient, the IFQ, I have a cluster of them that are built for a fast engagement. I like that. I like that part about me. But I have to be careful because if I'm not aware, that part drives me in an insecurity. The joke around our house right now is that I don't say bless you when somebody sneezes. And so like for whatever reason, it just was a thing to my daughter months ago. And she's like, "Dad, you should say bless you. It's just nice." And I'm like, yes, I want to be the kind of person who says bless you. She had just sneezed and I missed it. And straight up, I was like, God, help me start saying bless you. Like 20 seconds later, she sneezes and she just looks at me like, nothing. Literally, this happened last night. Oh, I feel like I'm about to sneeze. We're sitting by each other at the table and she sneezes and just stares me down. And it's not like a negative, mean thing. It's like really like I'm trying to help you be a good human, Dad. But here's what happens. And truly, ask any of my close friends, ask any of my family members, is Dad present? Is he engaged? When you're talking to him, is he in that moment? For sure, absolutely, no doubt. But if there's nothing there, I'm in 17 places. So I can't say bless you. Although I did to Mark one time, like a few weeks ago, and texted my family, just said bless you to Mark. And it was like this great thing. But here's the thing. I've learned about myself. There's this part of me that can run. I just got to run. I just got to run. I just got to go. I got to go. I got to go. I got to run. Now, we're in this series called Heaven Now. And the idea of this series is, like Dallas Willard said years ago, go to heaven now. Yes, there's a final ending to all this where everything is reconciled and how all the mystery of that is going to be wrapped up, buttoned up, and usher us into a new era that will capture our imagination forever. I don't fully get, but I don't believe the movie is just going to slow fade into a terrible ending. But in the meantime, we have moments of beauty, transformation, life. May your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Let the kingdom come. Heaven can be now. And heaven isn't because we win cultural wars as Christians and we get one for God, because that's never going to be enough for us if we're doing this out of anxiety or insecurity. It happens the way that we live with each other in the small moments of community. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is if they're not aware how they're wired up, they're going to pursue fake heaven. They're going to pursue the heaven that they think makes everything better in regards to their insecurity. And we say it over and over, insecure leaders ruin the world. When I'm insecure, I ruin my world. And the way that we think about heaven now can be fake because we look at it through the lens of our insecurity. So the last session we kicked off with the first fruit of the Spirit, love. Because it's my contention, my thesis, my proposition to you for you to consider and wrestle with is that I don't know of two greater lists that help us understand heaven now other than the fruits of the Spirit. This is what God is like, the fullness. We can't out-imagine how far His love goes, how loving God is, that first fruit. And then we looked at the corresponding beatitude because Jesus had a set of teachings and He wanted to be known for those teachings. On the human side and the divine side, as the Son of God, as the full expression of humanity, you need these teachings to transform your life. This is the standard you live by. And it wasn't any ideology on any political spectrum. They're amazing. And so we're looking at these fruits of the Spirit corresponding with the Beatitudes to teach us what heaven now is like. And so in the first session, we looked at love. I don't get an identity from just meeting your need. The temptation of the fruit of the Spirit of love is to build an identity from answering people's demands, not discerning their true need. And so we looked at the story of Mary and Martha, that Martha was doing a good thing. There was no shame. She's serving. But the foundation of that serving is not to do things for God, but with God. Today we look at the second fruit of the Spirit, joy. And in looking at this fruit of the Spirit, I want you to imagine just kind of like two extremes. So there's a passage in the New Testament in James where he says, look, count it all joy. Consider it all joy. Think about it as joy. Evaluate it as joy when you face challenges and trials of many kinds, because we all do. Life is like a big whack-a-mole of problems. Leadership is like a whack-a-mole of problems. Team building and team leading and having a marriage that sustains and parenting is like whack-a-mole of problems. And if you think you should get to a place that you're not going to have trials and temptations and struggles, and the word is the same in the New Testament, trials and temptations, they don't come from God, but they are a part of life and God uses them. If you think you're going to get to a point that you're not going to have them, you're going to set yourself up for suffering. And this fruit of the Spirit, joy, count it all joy when you face trials of many kinds, it spins out to two ditches. One ditch we could consider a blindfolded optimist. There ain't no trial. They run. They run from the pain. They're never honest about it. On the other ditch, they get full of despair. I'm the only one. It's just me. And a complete victim mindset. Now, I know the contours of these two ditches well. Because in my wiring, I can be like this. Count it all joy when you face trials. I'm so positive the trial can't catch me. I'm just not going to acknowledge it. But Chris, something cut your arm off and you're bleeding out. I don't even see the blood, but I got another whole arm here. Let's keep going. We've seen Monty Python's Search for the Holy Grail. It's just a flesh wound. I mean, this is the idea because I'm not really going to acknowledge this. I'm just going to keep moving fast enough because if I keep moving fast enough, I'm not going to get trapped and stuck in this pain. And then I can get to a place where I hit the other ditch that I get trapped in the pain for a minute and there's real no stillness that transforms. I'm just full of despair. So I want us to look at 1 Kings 18. And one of the things I told you in this series is we may look at stories of characters who never went through their transformation. We may look at stories of characters that's like a composite, like last week, or we may look at stories of characters who go through it and come out on the other side. Elijah's that character for us. We're going to look at 1 Kings 38. 1 Kings 18, verse 38. So Elijah is the man. Like, this guy knows how to capture attention. If he lived today, he would have a giant social media following. He knows how to get people locked in with him. He's building, we could say, a spectacle. And so the way that this happens is he's convinced that if we get a big showdown, if we book the arena, if we get a big showdown between God and the false gods, we'll see that God is the true God, false gods aren't real, and then everyone will turn and follow the true God. So this big showdown occurs, and it's like, yeah, well, maybe your God is at the bathroom. He's taunting them. He's making fun of them. And then he just ups the ante. He's like, go ahead and douse the altar, because God is the real God, and he's going to drop fire on this thing. It's amazing. Like, the guts. All guts. Verse 38, then the fire of the Lord fell and burned up the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and the soil, and also licked up the water in the trench. When all the people saw this, they fell prostrate and cried, the Lord, he is God. The Lord, he is God. The idea here is, people can be deceived by the show. If you haven't learned any lesson in politics, in American history in the last decade, people can be conned. People can be conned. And what Elijah's convinced of is, if we get them to see it, man, this is going to be a wholehearted turning back to God. It's going to turn Israel. So they're proclaiming that he is God, the Lord, he is God, but there's something not connecting yet. It's not only not connecting for the people, it's not even connecting for Elijah. Now, what would you be like if really, the best way I could explain this, you lived with an obsessive focus for years and years and years, constantly running towards something that you wanted so bad, and it was so big, and then it happened. What would that feel like? The adrenaline that would be going through your body. I mean, I've had a few moments like this, and you have these big wins, and you've got this adrenaline. I remember one time when I was heavy into trail running, I'd run in the mornings often for a season, and I just loved it. And then I had a big win that afternoon. I was like, I'm going for another run. I went for another run. I still remember that run. I still remember cresting up a hill and the sun's coming down and just feeling like I was pulsating with energy. And now you can get swept away in the wind. You can bank so much on the wind that you lose yourself in it. Verse 40, then Elijah commanded them, seize the prophets of Baal. Don't let anyone get away. They seized them, and Elijah had them brought down to the Kishon Valley and slaughtered there. I mean, this is a crazy story. Elijah's swept up in the adrenaline of this moment. God never asked for that. And he's like, we got it. We got the cultural win. We got the power. All the news media is reporting on it. Everybody on social media is saying it. God is God. This is amazing. This is what we've been living for. I want you to look at 1 Kings 19 with me. 1 Kings 19. Now Ahab, who's the king at this time, told Jezebel everything Elijah had done. Who's Jezebel? So here's the idea. Mount Carmel, fire falls. That's the location of this miracle. It's like on the borderlands. So this is like a battle for ideologies. So now Jezebel coming from the other side, Israel coming from the other side, this showdown is a deconstruction of the false god that Jezebel's bringing into her alliance with Ahab, the marriage with Ahab, into Israel. So basically what just happened, this giant moment, was everybody now knows Jezebel ain't it. She believes the wrong things. Like, that's what's starting to spread. So Ahab told Jezebel everything Elijah done and how he had killed all the prophets with the sword. So Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah to say, may the gods deal with me, because that's her view, her worldview, the gods, deal with me, be it ever so severely, if by this time tomorrow I don't make your life like that of one of them. And Elijah had seen fire fall at Mount Carmel. He had lived his life with this obsessive focus on mission, and he saw God come through. And he said, "That's okay, Jezebel, bring it on. How could I be afraid? I just saw that amazing miracle." Except that's not what it says. Look at verse 3. Elijah was afraid and ran for his life. When he came to Beersheba in Judah, he left his servant there. So, this switch. He's afraid, he runs for his life, and he left his servant there. Why would you leave your servant? He's done. He's quitting. He's out. Now, how deep is he quitting? I mean, I don't think anyone has ever pursued a mission that demanded all of who they are if they haven't had moments where they wanted to quit. Normal, human. We feel these things. Elijah's is much more dramatic. The idea, and we're going to see this a little bit later, he's leaving his servant there. He's ready to die. While he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness. Oh, man. The number of times that circumstances have led me into that in-between, that limbo, that badlands, that wilderness, where the sun scorches, it's hot, I just need some shade. We know what that feels like. Like metaphorically, we get this. He came to a broom brush, which is like just a little scrub brush. It's not even a good tree. There could have been a good tree for him to sit down that had great shade. That's not what this bush is. And there are these moments where it's like, I can't even get a decent piece of shade. He sat down under it and prayed that he might die. That's why he dismissed his servant. I'm done. I've had enough. I don't want any more. So he goes from this one extreme, the hype, to this other extreme, the extreme low. I'm done. I've had enough, Lord. Take my life. I'm no better than my ancestors. See, Elijah has this thing in his brain that he's comparing himself to others. And he's got to go faster. He's got to go farther. He's got to go harder. My ancestors, God bless them, but it's up to me to take it farther. I sit on their shoulders. I'm responsible. He's over-carrying something here. I'm responsible to get Israel to turn. And if I don't get Israel to turn, I'm no better than my ancestors. Well, I didn't get Israel to turn. We had this massive spectacle. People proclaimed he is God, but nobody is really standing up against Jezebel. There hasn't been a massive turning. The breakthrough that could have happened, it didn't. It fizzled out. And who am I? I'm no better than my ancestors. All at once an angel touched him. Now, it's not like in the Hebrew here, hey, buddy. This is like a, hey. Sometimes we're in these moments where we're just so stuck in our own deceptions and insecurities and despair. We need something to wake us the heck up. This is what I worry about with Gen Z right now. You know, you hear so much just despair. Like, I know it's hard. I know there are things that are hard. There are things that are always hard. Like, wake up! You're not going to get there by despair. You're not going to get there by ruminating and looping on these ideas about how hard you have it or how much you suck or how tough this is. And so an angel breaks through because this is what happens. The wilderness breaks us down. We have no resources left. All at once an angel touched him and said, "Get up and eat." He looked around, and there by his head was some bread baked over hot coals, a jar of water. He ate and drank them and lay down again. The angel of the Lord came back a second time and touched him and said, "Get up and eat." Now it's like we're seeing Elijah's health restored physically for what's about to come up. What a powerful thing, you know? Sometimes I'm just tired. Sometimes I'm just hungry. Sometimes it's hard to get that through line when I'm in that space. For the journey is too much for you, in verse 7. This is the transformation point for this person to understand. Like, this is the hinge point of the story. I know you think you can run hard enough, but until you come to the end of your resources and see, you can't run so far and so fast that you can rescue yourself. You are destitute, Elijah. You're out. You got nothing left. There's no plan Z that's going to rescue you. You work through these plans. I work through these plans. I get in moments in life where I'm like, got to try that, got to try that, got to try that. And I've learned to not try it out of a frantic fear of running. I'm going to be resilient. I'm going to try things. But there have been times in my life where I am scattering my energy across 1,000 ideas because I'm frantic and I'm afraid and I'm running because I cannot feel this reality that the journey is too much for me. I refuse to feel it. In my most dark, insecure moments, I've just refused to feel it because that isn't okay in the falseness of my mind. But here this angel saying to Elijah, the journey is too much for you. Elijah, until you know that you are poor in spirit, and that is a blessed thing, you will not be transformed. So he got up and ate and drank. Strengthened by the food, he traveled 40 days and 40 nights until he reached Horeb, the mountain of God. There he went into a cave and spent the night. Like this is the idea of 40 days, 40 nights. This is a pattern throughout the Bible, and it's always this. You can't run enough from this pain, and until you let it catch you and transform you, you will never reach what is the heaven now that I have for you. I mean, that's the idea. Jesus is in the wilderness, 40 days and 40 nights. This theme repeats itself because we come to the place that we can't depend on the fullness of our mind's activity to run from a situation with all our resourcefulness. And this isn't like a beat down on this gifting. Like, this is me. Just like last session wasn't a beat down on the gifting of being service oriented. It's beautiful. It's how God has made that person. But they have to learn to pause to discern the demand from the real need. And today what I'm saying to you is this is not a beat down. You are gifted and wired up to be resourceful, to be excitable, to go to what's next. But unless you learn to pause in that moment before you go to it, you will stay on a treadmill where you depend on your resourcefulness over and above the center that God wants to restore in you. So, look at verse 9, the rest of it. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah. What are you doing here, Elijah? Why are you here? He replied, I've been very zealous for the Lord God Almighty. The Israelites have rejected your covenant, torn down your altars, and put your prophets to death. Now, here's the idea. Like, you can see this in him. Like, I woke up early. I did all my morning routines. Everyone else was lazy and slept in, but I did all the stuff. I've been zealous for you. I'm the most zealous. I see what could be, and I see what is. And of course, God cares about the infrastructure of the rituals and systems of his people because what they're focusing on, they're following. So they sacrifice to these gods, and over time they participate in child sacrifice. It's horrible. It's evil. It's not just God's. People misunderstand this all the time. It's like, you better worship my statue. No, God's like, don't make an image because it's not about the statue. It's about my presence. And I want you restored and I want you in shalom. And when you're distracted and following all this other stuff, you're ruined. Elijah gets all that. What he doesn't get, I am the only one left. He chases the big show. And when that doesn't deliver to him like he thinks it should, he goes into this despair. I'm the only one left. The Lord said, go out and stand in the mountain in the presence of the Lord, for the Lord is about to pass by. I am in awe of this passage. This passage is why 15 and exists. It's everything I'm trying to do with our time together. It's everything I'm trying to do with Sight Shift. Then a great and powerful wind tore the mountains apart and shattered the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind, there was an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. These massive displays of spectacle, of power, fire falling on Mount Carmel, wind, earthquake. But it's not what contains and demonstrates and exemplifies who God is. After the earthquake came a fire. But Yahweh was not in the fire. And after the fire came a gentle whisper. Now, there's a lot of different ways to translate this. It's not a passive quiet. It's an active cessation or stopping of the noise. And then a fine, small whisper. If you look at the Hebrew, you got a lot going on here. It's like a sound of thin silence. It's louder than a scream, quieter than a whisper, right in that sweet spot. And I would say to you, most Christians have lived their lives off of a few of those moments. And many are still searching for the earthquake and the wind and the fire in Mount Carmel. I mean, like, this is the stuff. When I was in the ministry world, everybody's chasing fire falling on Mount Carmel. It's fine when it happens. Do I enjoy it? Yeah. It's not the center of who I am. It's not what God's trying to do in me. It doesn't produce joy. I can enjoy the circumstance, but it's not the center of my joy. Because when I lose, then I'm not destroyed by the circumstance because it's not the center of my joy. Joy is in the sound of thin silence. Everything that I'm trying to do with Sight Shift, everything I'm trying to do with 15AN is to take people to the point that they hear that for themselves, whatever it's like for you. It's why we build this out on the Sight Shift side, seeing, feeling, hearing. It's an experience. The Greek word is gnosko, to know Christ. It's not a technical knowing of Christ. It's not a mental assent, a knowledge. It's gnosko. It's experiential. It's the ground of being. It's the center of who you are. And man, when you can tap into that, when you can drop down into that, that changes everything. And I'll tell you, what we looked at last week, what's going to happen for somebody who's insecure with the fruit of the Spirit of love is they're going to think the still small voice exists in responding to every need. And I can tell you what this one feels is they think the still small voice is always getting hyped about the next horizon. But that ain't it. That ain't it. It's something more. You know, man, I'm not really worried about AI competitively. You know why? Because I know most people lead for validation, not impact, out of their insecurity. That's the reason I'm not worried about AI competitively. Here's what I mean. It's not hard to imagine somebody's on a leadership team and they have an idea, and it's a great idea, and their boss doesn't like the idea. And so they go on the cheap version of ChatGPT, or worse, the free one, which is like horrific, and types in, I had this idea in our staff meeting today, and my boss didn't appreciate this idea. Do you think this is a good idea? What's AI going to say back? You freaking stupid idiot. You're about to ruin a great job opportunity. That idea is poorly thought through, and you can't even execute it on it the way that you think you can. No! It's going to say, sharp idea. Great thinking. Well, I wonder if I could go start my own business because I have this great idea and I shouldn't be on this team anymore. Do you think you could help me do that? Sharp question. You can do it. Here's your plan. Now, here's the idea. Someone might be in a leadership team meeting and they're not supposed to say the idea because their idea is bad or they're insecure. Or maybe they need to say their idea because it's bad, but they need to learn to think better. And they need to learn to be secure. Or maybe they need to say their idea out loud because the team needs to do it. Or maybe they don't need to say their idea out loud because they're supposed to go start the business. Or maybe they're not. Oh my gosh, it's a million choices, and who freaking knows what reality is? God does. God knows. And that's why you have to follow the still small voice. The sound of thin silence is not going to be AI. And I can use AI devotionally. Of course, why wouldn't I? I'm not reacting to AI like people did with electricity. Oh no, demons are going to get on me. They're going to get on me when electricity came out. People were insane about that stuff. They're going to do the same here. I can use it, but I'm not going to let it hype me into a place that I'm insecure and leading for my own validation. Now, I think what's so powerful about this story with Elijah that we can't miss, I want us to go back to the passage. A voice came to him and said, what are you doing here, Elijah? Verse 14, I've been very zealous for the Lord God Almighty. The Israelites have rejected your covenant. I'm the only one left. The Lord said to him, go back the way you came. So Elijah has a shift in his understanding of God. Oh, God isn't in the spectacle. What do I do now? And then he gets through his whining. God doesn't shame him for that, but redirects him. The Lord said, go back the way you came and go to the desert of Damascus. Now that sucks. He's got to travel 40 days back now. I want to go forward. This identity fear of wanting to know they're going to be taken care of. That's the fruit of the spirit of joy. We talk about it in terms of identity fear on the sight shift side. They're afraid in their identity. If I'm not always going forward, I'm going to be trapped in pain. I'm not going to be taken care of. And it's like a death sentence to this identity fear to have to go backward. But why does God want Elijah to go backward here? He's got to unlearn. He's got to undo. See, that's what's so hard about the most transformative moments of our life. Before we learn the new, we're often unlearning the old. It's getting unwedded from our thought processes and our behaviors and our habits. And then he says this, when you get there, anoint Hazael king over Aram. Also anoint Jehu, son of Nimshi, king over Israel. And anoint Elisha to succeed you as prophet. Whoa. So Elijah gets a new vision of who God is and a new mission. I'm still not over this moment that happened when I was 18 in college, freshman. And I remember it so clearly. There was a beanbag, and I sat down on that beanbag. And God was kind of like off in the distance. I just wanted to hang out and have a good time. But it was the first time I thoughtfully, willfully sought God. And crazy enough, somehow, there was a acapella hymn CD. There's a lot of other CDs, but this was there. And I put it on. And I slept in church all the time. I was bored out of my mind. I literally one time standing up, fell asleep over the pew because I hated it. It was boring. I was exhausted. I could totally check out. I put on this hymn, and this hymn played. And it was just a complete washing of acceptance of reality, to be in the moment. And I'm still not over sitting in that beanbag. Months later, after sitting in that beanbag, after knowing the acceptance of God in that still small moment, I had a life-changing experience. It's why I'm here doing this with you now. It's why I woke up early. It's why I found time in the midst and the flow of a full week to work on this and give my best to you. 18 years old, I'm riding in a car. It's a big story. I don't want to go into all the detail. And I'd set up to that point in my life. People ask me what I want to do. I say, I don't know. I'm not going to preach. I don't know. I'm not going to preach. And I heard this in me. Chris, what if I want you to preach? And I just prayed back, well, you have to tattoo it on my chest with a lightning bolt. What I heard back was, what about my still small voice? And the internal axis of who I am completely shifted. 30 years later, the fire burns brighter. There's a beatitude that says, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:3. The people that have this wiring, like Elijah, God is allowing them to come to the place that they are poor in the spirit so that they can be destitute, so that they can know they don't have enough resources for this journey, so they can learn that God isn't in the earthquake or the wind or the fire, but God is in the still small voice. Let me give you 3 application points that changed my life around this idea over and over and over again. Number 1, you got to name the pain. You got to name the pain. If you're wired up like this to run hard and to move fast, the pain you suppress or push down, you're running from it, it will eventually catch you. Stuff it down long enough and it forms a coup. I have seen so much light in the secular, and I've seen so much darkness in the sacred. If you want to think about it, it's the church world, because people don't listen to the still small voice. They just stuff it down, stuff it down, stuff it down. There is nothing more important as a starting point of transformation than reality. This goes back to the dirt series. You have to clean with truth. And what happens for this wiring of identity fear that can't access the fruit of the Spirit of joy apart from their circumstances. They can't relax into the Trinity. They can't go to the table with Christ and receive joy. They have to get joy from chasing the next horizon. They can't be still. They have to run to this place that they're just driven by their enthusiasm. Here's what that person will do over time. They will get into a pattern of self-deception because reality is too painful to face. And so over and over and over, I've found in being with teams and leaders that's so transformative when we see in their data they have this identity fear, we just have to name the pain they want to run from. 2, you have to let yourself be fed before you feed others. Elijah had to be fed so he could go take care of and feed others. This is what it means to know that the joy of the Lord is your strength. The Lord's joy is my strength. I remember when my kids were little and they came back from VBS. Dad, I know what joy is. I'm like, sweet, what is it? It's Jesus, others, you. And I'm like, well, that sounds horrible because if we just gave everything away we had right now, we could not sustain a family to take care of all the people that we're going to serve in the future. Love God with everything you have and love your neighbor as yourself. You can't love your neighbor well unless you love yourself well. You can't love yourself well unless you love God well. There's a progression here. Guys, it's not joy like you were told. It's J-O. You know, if you make it do like that when they're little, they'd be like, okay. Jesus, you, others. For this wiring, their aspirations, their enthusiasms, the horizon they're chasing so quickly become not just the pure desire of God's still small voice in them, but a lust. They have to hear the voice. They have to hear the voice. They have to hear the voice. And if they can hear the voice, here's the last point of application I'd give you. They shift from spectacle to succession. Dadgummit, Elisha is going to be anointed by you. Elijah, you thought the point was fire falling. No. All of this is played out so you learn real joy, not in the fire falling, not in the earthquake, not in the wind, but in my still small voice. And let me tell you what I want you to be about. I want you to be about succession. Go train others. Elijah, I want you to lead for impact, not validation. I have seen so many moments in leadership fail because a CEO has this wiring and they think they're doing their job to just hype everybody to the future and skip over the pain and have a rah-rah session. And over time, they just condition the team to disengage because he or she doesn't really square up with what the problem is anyway. And this is just another cheerleading moment. I have seen so many marriages end in divorce because one of them is wired up this way and always wants to chase enthusiasm and always wants to chase the adventure. Oh, I got to travel. This identity fear loves to travel. And oftentimes, yin to yang, you attract the opposite. They're married to somebody who doesn't want to travel as much. Well, she doesn't get me. She doesn't get what I'm about. I'm trying to bring everybody into this world of enthusiasm and excitement, and I'm very extroverted, and they're not. And then I in business and in ministry leadership, I've seen so many divorces because the leader is basically saying to their spouse, you better match my personality. I've seen so many leaders and teams fail in building the culture they could because that leader or team leader says, you better match my personality. May we, if we're going to really be the people who follow the still small voice of God, know we're blessed to be poor in spirit. If our circumstances aren't pumping us up with enthusiasm or deflating us, it's okay. There's a deeper joy. And the path there is to not run from the pain, but to name.
I hope you enjoyed this teaching from 15and. Go to 15and.org, share these resources with others, and click the Donate Now button to participate in funding this mission.